Today, we're going to dive into a 1 lakh crore rupee plan that's quietly reshaping the very foundation of India's agriculture. It's the story of the Agriculture Infrastructure Fund, and it all starts with a huge and often invisible problem. Just imagine this for a second. A farmer spends months, pours everything into growing a perfect crop. Now, what if a huge chunk of that, we're talking up to 15% for some produce, just spoils before it can even be sold? And look, this isn't some hypothetical. It's the reality for millions in India, and it points to a massive systemic challenge. And that waste, it comes with an absolutely staggering price tag. Let that number sink in. Nearly 93,000 crore rupees. That's about 10.8 billion US dollars. That's the estimated value of food that's lost in India every single year after it's been harvested. It is a colossal drain on the entire economy. So that brings us right to our first big topic, India's post-harvest problem. Because this isn't just about food going bad. It's about lost income for millions of farmers and a major, major drag on the national economy. And when you zoom in on specific crops, the picture gets even clearer and, frankly, a lot worse. For high-value stuff that spoils easily, like fruits and vegetables, the losses are just incredible, sometimes over 15%. These are the very products that should be boosting farmer incomes, but a massive portion just rots before it ever reaches a market. So what's the deal here? It's not about poor farming. The problem kicks in after the harvest is done. There's this huge gap in infrastructure, not enough cold storage, not enough modern warehouses, and not enough efficient transport to connect the farm to, your fridge. And that gap is precisely what the government is trying to bridge with the Agriculture Infrastructure Fund, or AIF. This is a 1 lakh crore rupee plan designed to tackle that post-harvest problem head-on. So what is the AIF exactly? Well, put simply, it's a massive financing facility. Now, the government isn't out there laying bricks and mortar itself. Instead, it's making it a whole lot easier and cheaper for others, from farmers to startups, to get the loans they need to build it. The whole point is to fund good, viable projects that will modernize the entire agricultural supply chain. And really, the end goal here, it's way bigger than just concrete and steel. Sure, it's about reducing waste, but it's also about empowering farmers to earn more from their hard work, attracting fresh ideas and innovation, and building a truly modern farm-to-consumer ecosystem. Okay, a 1 lakh crore fund sounds amazing, right? But how does it actually work on the ground? How does the rubber meet the road? Let's get into the mechanics of how this money is actually being used to modernize agriculture. Right off the bat, you need to know this isn't some overnight fix. It's a long-term vision. The scheme kicked off back in 2020, and new loans can be given out until 2026. But the support, the financial backing, it continues all the way to 2033. That shows a real, deep commitment to making sure these projects actually succeed. So, who can actually get these loans? Well, as you can see, the net is cast pretty wide. It's open to pretty much everyone in the agricultural ecosystem. The biggest chunks are aimed at cooperatives, groups that represent thousands of small farmers, but it also includes individual farmers, agro-entrepreneurs, and even tech startups. The idea is to spark development from the ground up. Now this right here, this is the secret sauce. This is what makes the AIS a real game changer. It's not just a loan, it's a smarter loan. For projects up to 2 crore rupees, the government sweetens the deal in 2 big ways. First, it pays 3% of your interest. That directly lowers your costs. Second, it provides a credit guarantee. That basically tells the bank, hey, we've got your back, which makes them way more likely to say yes to the loan. This 1-2 punch makes these vital projects actually possible for people who could never afford them before. So what are we building with all this money? Well, we're talking about the absolute essential building blocks of a modern supply chain: cold storage, warehouses, processing units. But the fund is also looking to the future, supporting cutting-edge tech like agricultural drones and facilities for organic farming. The scope is just incredibly broad. All right, so the scheme sounds fantastic in theory, but how is it actually doing in the real world? Let's take a look at the AIF's report card so far, the wins, and of course, the hurdles. Okay, this chart tells a really clear story. Out of that huge 1 lakh crore fund, you can see that just under half of it has been sanctioned or approved for projects. And of that approved amount, about 2/3 has actually been paid out and put to work. Now, this shows some real momentum, for sure, but it also shines a light on the challenge. There's still over half the fund left to allocate effectively before that 2026 deadline. On the bright side, the impact is definitely real, and it's growing. NABARD estimates that this kind of infrastructure can boost a farmer's income by 15 to 20%. For millions of families, that's not just a statistic, that's life-changing. It's the difference between being stuck in debt and building a real sustainable business. It's creating a whole new class of rural entrepreneurs. But, it's not all smooth sailing. Any scheme this ambitious is going to face some real-world hurdles. The funding hasn't been spread out evenly across the country. Small farmers, the ones who need it most, often struggle to navigate the complex loan process. And, bureaucratic red tape can slow down even the best ideas. Overcoming these challenges is absolutely key to unlocking the fund's full potential. So what does this all add up to? When you put all these pieces together, what's the big picture? The AIF is more than just a fund. It's a massive attempt to engineer the future of Indian farming, a future where that journey from the farm to the fridge is seamless, efficient, and most importantly, profitable for the farmer. This quote just nails it, doesn't it? It perfectly captures that transformative vision. It's all about ensuring freshness, cutting down waste, and adding value every single step of the way. And that doesn't just help farmers, it strengthens food security for everyone and boosts the entire national economy. So I'll leave you with this final thought. The AIF is a powerful, powerful tool for building the physical foundation of modern agriculture. No doubt about it. But is infrastructure the final piece of the puzzle? Or is it the launch pad for the next wave of reforms we need in market access, in technology, and in farmer education? That right there is the challenge that lies ahead. Thanks for joining us for this explainer.